Good evening. Welcome to Caribbean Street Talk. My name is Georges Bossous Jr. Well, you could call me George. Caribbean Street Talk is a project that we started 2 years ago here in Central Florida in a local TV station. And tonight we are taking to the next level. We be able to broadcast live on iTunes, radio.net, and islandbeatradio.net. Well, we have a great panel with us today, and they are all candidates. They are running for office. Here at Caribbean Street Talk, we said that we will keep it real. There will be real conversation and real question regarding your issues. To do so, I have with me my co-host and the co-producer of this show, my friend, Lyma Dunbar. Lyma?
Hey George, how you doing, everyone? This is Caribbean Street Talk, just like the man says, and this is our debut show. So you know what? It's all a lot of good vibes, and we're bringing you information that is pertinent to you voting. Because for the past 2 weeks, you all had early voting, which was I can't remember exactly what day it started, but of course Sunday was the end of it, and then tomorrow it's time to vote, right? Some of y'all will be dropping off your the early voting ballot today at your different precincts. But as George said, this is Caribbean Street Talk. We have a wonderful panel. We've got Miss Karen Green, who is the congressional candidate for District 7, followed by Mr. Anthony, or I should say Tony Sabb. He says Tony, but I always feel like if Tony is short for Anthony, but I say it, Tony Sabb, and he is a mayoral candidate for Orange County, going up against, of course, the man himself, Mr. Deming. And we're gonna bring it full circle with Miss Natalie Jackson, congressional candidate for District 10.
Excellent. So before we do so, we are going to take a break. And then after we come back, the next person you are going to hear from is Dr. Karen Green.
I had to put my glasses on for that one.
Awesome. That's excellent. Now we're back on. And as we said, we will bring Dr. Karen Green right on the screen because we have a great show and we're going to have some very good conversation. And I know Lyma is ready for some major questions that are really of interest to you. And before we go ahead, I just want to underline that one of the sponsors of the show is the Haitian American Leadership Initiative, which I am the president. And I hope that you will enjoy everything that's going to be said or that's going to be shared here online. Let's bring on Dr. Karen Green.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, Lyma.
Hey, Karen, how are you doing?
You could have chosen a better name, Lyma. Keeping it real is who you are.
Real.
So thank you. Thank you for considering me for your first event and presentation. I'm just truly blessed, especially at a time like now. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right, Dr. Green, are we really happy that you are accepted to be part of our first show? You are our first guest here, and I know that you are running for office for the Congressional District 10 and
no, she's 7.
I said 7. I'm sorry, 7 is right in front of me. So before we get into the details and ask the questions, can you tell us about who is Karen Green?
Well, For one, Karen Green is an immigrant. I'm from the homeland of Jamaica, the continent of the Caribbean. To many people, not too sure what that is. But more importantly, I'm a mother. I'm a business owner. I'm a grandmother. I am one who believes in the American dream. And I have been the vice chair of the Florida Democratic Party. I've been an activist and advocate. I've been in the classrooms, a corporate executive. I have been in the classrooms as a teacher. I've been a caregiver. I came to America and did almost everything that every immigrant did coming here, worked in every field you could imagine, but found my space in knowing that this is where I wanted to be defending and representing people on all issues. And so I am running for Congressional District 7 because I believe at this point it is where the Lord has led me. It's been only 3 months since I decided to run in this race. This seat was vacated by Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy. And for those reasons, I thought this was just an opportune time. Coming out of the pandemic, seeing where we are with what the redistricting did to our district and how they disenfranchised the Black and brown voters. I was contacted by most of the folks in the district, chairs and campaign leaders and others across the state. I have served in multiple capacities. I have been the Congressional Coalition Director for 2 presidential elections. I've been a senior advisor to Michael Bloomberg and advanced for President Hillary Clinton. I've actually served for Organize for America for President Barack Obama. So my political adversities and involvement, and everyone who knows me know I've been behind the scenes making elections, win elections. I've been for the U.S. territories, I've been that representative for the Democrats and Democrats abroad. My role has been behind the scenes making things, as I said before, happen for immigrants, for women. I've been one of those folks who just know how to make things happen. And so for these reasons, I believe it's a time like now that my experience, my earned experiences, it's a time to go to Congress to represent each of us in this state and in this district.
That's excellent. And I had a chance to meet with you, I think it's a couple of years ago in Central Florida. And during the Hillary Clinton campaign, I think that we've met, and you've been very active in the political spectrum. And now you are basically looking for your own seat because you have something to bring forth. I'm looking at some of your priority here. You mentioned economic opportunity, education, veteran affairs, affordable housing. You mentioned environmental issues as well, and women's rights. And one of the things that's really of interest to me is immigrants, because we all here are immigrants coming from the Caribbean. And I think that this is one of the issues, particularly in our community, that is very sensitive. So what is your take or what is your plan when it comes to that particular area in your campaign?
Well, and thank you for that most important question to me. I was, during President Barack Obama's presidency, I was actually the lead in the state of Florida on immigration for Organize for America, which led on the issues of DAPA and DACA. For so many people, young children and families who came here because of their parents, this country was built by immigrants, and there's a process of immigrants that we need to advance. Back then, President Obama, then working with President Joe Biden, had a process of a pathway to citizenship for undocumented and for immigrants. I believe we should continue that. This current, the past administration, the Donald Trump era, they were strong against an anti-immigration policy. It was so bad that they saw borders even when there were none. Mm-hmm. And for these reasons, I believe I've been here to support TPS, not only for Caribbean people, but for those from Central and South America, for Africans and others. I was one of those in the state who was behind making sure that the undocumented students who we had invested in academically already were able to pay the same tuition, along with other state representatives to advance that, making sure they were documented. So my response to that is, immigrants built this country. We all are immigrants, regardless of where you come from, Black, brown, or otherwise. And I intend to, when I get to Congress, be able to help advance the process of DAPA and DACA, make sure that we don't talk about borders and boundaries, but we have a fair, common sense approach to having immigrants in this country.
Excellent. Lyma, I'm sure you have something to follow up.
In response, I have a couple things. The first thing that wasn't really a question as much as it was a a statement, or is a statement. Doing my homework on the redistricting, I saw that, Karen, your district, District 7, is one of the districts that was compromised by DeSantis's redrawing of the lines. And it is now primarily a GOP um, leaning. How difficult or not has it been for you to campaign within District 7, knowing that because the lines were redrawn, it is now primarily a GOP led?
So this is one of the areas where what they did is they took Orange County out of this district, which was primarily more so Democratic, because UCF was in the district, or students and or immigrant population of just people who were educated enough to know what it is to accept immigrants and the diversity of this district. It's fair to say that what they did was drew this old John Michael district to bring back these people who are here. There are 8 Republicans running in this district, only one of which I believe is from this district. It was drawn to bring in a certain group of the Republican Party. And I will say who now. It's the extreme progressives, the extreme well, I can say it. The former chair, the former presidential candidate who should have been president, referred to folks with another name. But it's fair to say that we're looking at Sabatini, we're looking at other folks. This district was drawn, my sister, to create that. You asked the question, how difficult is it? I think what they've done by reversing Roe versus Wade, it's the issues that I believe is going to create this kind of common sense approach to literacy and to this electorate. It was the same thing we did when President Barack Obama was here. They said he wouldn't win, but he went about finding the issues. It was environmental. This district has a very wide range of environmental conservative, people who know the value of the borders of rural. It's women, regardless of who you are, what race you are. What they did with Roe versus Wade is actually one that I want to get to Congress to help to codify that. I mean, it is unbelievable that the freedoms that have affected us. And so the reality is that having done that, every freedom of every person living in this district, be it LGBTQ rights, be it education, be it the reversal, I mean, it's crazy. So I'm thinking, and what I've been hearing in the district, is that regardless of who you are, we're looking at the freedoms that are going to be reversed. We're looking at the possibilities of what we saw that happened on January 6th, that if we allow these people that are looking to take the seat, a seat that was held by a woman for another immigrant from Vietnam, who was able to hold this district after John Michael with a common sense and a good approach. So to answer your question, it also houses a very large veteran population that was really steered, not the crazy ones who think that the bottom line is that this is a family-based environment. There are people here who know what it is to have a good environment and a good lifestyle, who also have pocketbook issues, and I'm targeting those voters. And they're the ones who've been embracing me at this point. So is it difficult? They drew it difficult. But it's not lines that determine victories. It's people who have experiences. And that's why I'm here.
Amen to that. And I'm glad that you kind of like it, the segue, you built the segue for the next question, because you already talked about it, which was the reversal of Roe versus Wade. I mean, the Supreme Court, and that's another topic for another day, they kind of like, they did the wrong thing, of course, but they kind of like lit a fire under most women. I wouldn't say all women, but most women. And I feel that we could use that as a jump start or a segue into, yes, you winning the vote, the popular vote and the vote to secure District 7 for the Democratic Party and just for democracy on the whole. For democracy on the whole.
Lyma, what's interesting is that the reversal of Roe versus Wade doesn't just attack women. There's also the freedom of the man who has an opinion in these circumstances, who also has similar concerns with supporting a woman who chooses not to have a family at the time when it happens. Incidents happen. It's a really hard thought to see a 10-year-old having a child, and the common sense behind that, by saying a 16-year-old cannot have a child, but then she can be a mother. It doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense.
None of this makes sense.
Doesn't make sense.
Because it doesn't make sense, I am hoping, because one of the blessings that the Lord has empowered me with is the ability to negotiate and to integrate and to go across the lines. I'm hoping that when I get to DC, to the House of Congress, I'd be able to have that approach of getting people to agree that this is not something we want to start this trend of reversals. The freedom of Roe versus Wade is as comparable to the voting rights bill, which is almost the same age. And we have a Supreme Court now that is looking to also reverse the civil rights movement. By, listen, sister, I know I'm a little passionate, but it's my experiences, and that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here, sis.
Well, we appreciate everything that you said. There's so much more we can ask, but of course we're on a time frame here. So because I wanted to talk about the codifying of Roe versus Wade, but one of the cool things about this show is that you will return because we expect you to be on the ballot for November.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Thank you so
I
much.
know yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you,
Just
George.
before you go, I have one last question because we're running out of time, and it's basically just going back to the immigration part, and very quickly, because and the reason why I come out with that, because you're in Central Florida and we have a large Haitian population, Haitian American populations, and I'm sure that you're well aware of that. And what is being reported is the number of Haitians being deported to Haiti during the Biden administration. Whereas we know what's going on in Haiti in terms of political instability, the insecurity that's been raging out there, people are dying on a regular basis. But yet, combining the two administrations, Biden administrations basically has been sending more Haitian Americans to Haiti than any other president before him. So what is your take on that, and what can you do should you be elected?
Well, I think, one of the things that we get to is what have you done? I have been one of those persons even before I got to this place, looking at the humanitarian approach to things. I'm also one of those people who have served in the humanitarian, reach. I have friends who died in Haiti in the earthquake. Great, large lost their families. I do know that because of the immigration rule and laws, I'm not speaking from a legal concept, but from an advocacy and for folks who have had to protect during those times. Understand that we have done a lot for TPS when it comes to Haitian neighbors. We've done it because of the earthquake. We've done it because of political unrest. We've done it because of hurricanes. Those were times when these things have happened. But I think there's a uniformity that has happened for immigrants across the globe. That sometimes I believe the administration has tried to be neutral, and I'm just speaking from my observation, that they're trying to create the same kind of balance for other nations, Nicaragua, Mexico, Nigeria, the whole globe of crises, Ukraine at this point. My response to you is that because I'm from the Caribbean region, I know what the economic hardship is. I know the wealth of Haiti. I know the democracy that first started any act of freedom in the Caribbean came from Haiti with Toussaint. I know what it is. I know what the economic crisis was with France and the history of that nation. I believe that if given this opportunity, because of my familiarization of this district, of this nation, that I would have a better approach, as I have had in the past, being in Haiti on missions, being in Haiti to supply those needs, but to be able to support like I did before in having resolutions drawn to help for TPS. And so I am saying to you now that this administration has done a lot. Some things are just not published, but some things are not necessarily stated. I think we just need to get to that place where Haiti is not just seen as an island that has all these climatic changes. Another good point is that climate change and the storms we've experienced and the earthquakes and the scientific discoveries and the agricultural maneuvering and investments that need to happen in Haiti, I believe these things would come to the forefront when I get to Congress. I'll be the first Caribbean born, when elected, to be sitting in the House of Congress. The legendary, my sister Shirley Chisholm of Barbadian descent, my precious sister Yvette Clark, and my sister Stacey Plaskett, who are doing such wonderful jobs in the House. I would love to be able to join them and to apply my life experiences of advocacy and humanitarian reach and the love of my Caribbean neighbors in Haiti to be able to help advance the immigration process, my brother. Thank you for that question.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Karen. I almost
I
like feeling saying, hey, man, but well, the time is running. So, Lima, what do we have? And as we're transitioning.
I know we gotta let her go, and of course, all the candidates that we have on tonight are all Democrats. And all I have to say, as we let you leave, Karen, to go into winner's circle, because as far as I'm concerned, you're gonna win. I want the
Amen.
Democrats to please message properly. They do not know how to message properly. They don't know how to sell all the good that they have done, and I don't know why. I don't
You've
know
been
why.
saying that for a long,
You
long
know what I
time,
mean?
real
You
talker.
gotta get with it,
You've
okay?
been saying it for a long time. So,
Yeah,
so I know I'm going to take 30 seconds to wrap up my pitch on this.
30
You
seconds.
know that for a long time I've been gagged, but the difference is this is my campaign. In
Mm-hmm.
most cases, you don't speak because you said not to speak. We need to do real talk. That is why we had a Donald Trump, because they know how to talk direct to people. I am not going to be
Keeping it
gagged.
real.
I'm going to speak the truth, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be pushed, bullied, or maneuvered. I'm a girl from Yard. I'm a Jamaican who knows what it is to stand up.
Right
And
now.
I'm telling you right now that I'm a praying woman with a Bible in my hand who hold it right side up. So just to be clear, my sister, you're right. I am Karen Green. I'm running for Congressional District 7 because I want to win. And when I win, we all win. So
Amen.
please, I'm asking you humbly to join me tomorrow. Vote for Karen Green. Let's get me to Congress. Let's pull this together. Let me be your voice, your advocate, and we'll do this. Thank you so much for the opportunity for being here today, my sister. I look forward to seeing you after this is won.
Yeah, man.
And the blessings of this show, my
I hope you
brother.
see me too,
George, God
Karen.
bless you.
Nice meeting you. And
Blessing, blessing.
we'll see you on the hill. Thanks.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you on the hill.
Blessings, my brothers and sisters. Blessings to you all. Take care.
Blessing.
Bye-bye.
There you
Let's take
go.
a break now. We're going to commercial, and afterwards we will bring forth our brother Tony Sabb on the screen.
Yes.
iTunes Entertainment Magazine, where the focus is to bring information and entertainment wrapped in a little something extra that is pertinent and relative to all of us, regardless of culture. Our features aim at catering somewhat to the curiosity in all of us, whether it be business, entertainment, health and wellness, immigration, our youth, and more. So please visit our website at www.itunesentertainmentmagazine.com or itunesentmagazine.com. Also inviting you to check us out on IG and Twitter at iTunesEntMag.
Welcome back to Caribbean Street Talk. With you, Georges Bossous Jr. and Lyma Dunbar. Here, as we mentioned, as we said, we keep it real, and you just listened to Dr. Karen Green. And right now, we have an opportunity to bring on our studio Mr. Tony Sabb. I'm sure that he's here. We could bring him forth, and then we will have some very good questions, and we're going to have some, again, real conversation, because here we keep it real.
I'd like to remind everyone that you are listening to us live on iTunes Radio with simulcast on islandbeatradio.net. So iTunesradio.com, simulcast on islandbeatradio.net. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to our channel, our YouTube channel, Caribbean Straight Talk. Okay, and also our Facebook page, Caribbean Straight Talk. So Val Branch Duncan, she's a realtor, CIPS, and all the alphabet soup you can find. She is North Star First Properties, one of the best buying, selling, or properties in the Caribbean and North America. She is specialized in Bahamas, Barbados, Grenada, Guyana, Jamaica, and Trinidad and Tobago. And she can help. All you've got to do is just give her a call at 321-303-9345. Again, Val Branch.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Now I can't wait to see Mr. Tommy. If he's ready, we should just bring him right up, because he's running for Orange County Mayor.
There you go.
And I'm sure that, yes, there you go. There you go. Welcome. Welcome to Caribbean Street Talk, Mr. Sabb.
Thank you both for having me.
Come.
Excellent, excellent. Well, you just, as the tradition, and we just have a great interview with Curtin Green, and basically the same question for you. Who is Mr. Sabb? Well, who is Tommy Sabb?
Well, sir, I am a 25-year Army veteran, Colonel retired. I've had the privilege of serving in the armed forces of our great military for 25 years. And I've done that in several conflicts over the last 3 decades. Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom, and Operation Desert Storm. I served as a company commander, battalion commander. I flew Black Hawks for 22 years. And I commanded in conflict both times as a company commander and a battalion commander, lieutenant colonel. When I rose to the rank of colonel, I went and worked at NATO at Istanbul, Turkey, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, where I was the rankingest American colonel there, working with the Turkish government in their reactionary force as part of the member nation of NATO. After retirement in 2008, I worked with corporations like Northrop Grumman and L3 in countries like Afghanistan and also Saudi Arabia, working with our allies to make sure that they had the resources that was needed so that they can continue to defend themselves. I am a husband of 35 years. I am a father of 3 great daughters, adult daughters, and a grandfather of 3 great grandchildren. And I love my country.
That's excellent. That's quite a bit of a career that you have here, especially. And thank you for your service, sir. And I'm sure that this service will be translated in your agenda while if you win this race. And I'm looking into some of your issues here, and you're talking about not raising taxes, and you're talking about safe home. And we know that in Orange County, some of the issues that this population is facing. So talking about not raising taxes, especially right now when the economy is somehow, as a result of the war, taking some heat. So how do you plan on doing so and keeping the tax low for this, for your electorate?
Well, my incumbent has made it very difficult for me to do that at this point, sir. We right now, as you know, have an initiative on the ballot for a 1% transportation tax, which will bring our sales tax from 6.5 to 7.5%. This tax is for the purpose of infrastructure in Orange County. It is a very in-depth operation of how they're going to do a quantum leap on our transportation, and it goes over the course of at least a decade. In doing so, in our rail, our motor transportation, mass transit transportation, bike trails, you name it. It is very comprehensive. At this point, I do not believe that that is what we should be doing, sir. We're sitting here right now looking at a 9.5. They're saying now 8.5. I don't believe it. I believe that we're well above that, because if you go out and buy any commodity, it's much higher than that inflation rate. That's where we're sitting at. To put a 1% tax on top of that at this point is regressive, meaning that it's going to affect the most challenged income folks, lower income folks in our county. And I just do not believe that this is what we should be doing at this time.
All right, so that's a quite a bit of challenge that you have here when it comes to this particular issue. But it's one of the issues before I pass that on to Lyma, because I'm sure that she has some very interesting questions for you. You're talking about feel safe at home. So we're talking about the crime rate in our neighborhood and keeping our children safe. And we know, particularly in Central Florida, one of the issues, particularly when I was running for office back in Miami, is basically human trafficking. And we know what's going on, particularly in that particular area. So what is your take on that?
You know, when I went back and looked at the crime rate going on here in our county, I was kind of surprised. I didn't realize that we were on such a incline. For instance, in 2020, homicides rose 17% to about I think it was around 57 homicides. Rose another 57%. I'm sorry, it rose 17% in 2020, and then another 57% in 2021 to 117 homicides. How many is it going to be in 2022? My concern here is that we have a increase in population, sir. I do believe that that's affecting it, but what we also have is a need for more, I think, deputies on the ground, and I think we are about to get that. I do understand that we're going to get 25 new deputies coming in for this upcoming year, but we need to use them properly. So my idea is, I am a broken window concept person. I do believe that if you commit a crime, no matter how small it is, you need to pay for it. You must pay for it. That is the only way people will not repeat what they're doing. And if you look across our country, that seems to be what's happening. People are not being held accountable for what they're doing. So I look at crime in the way of protecting the taxpayer and protecting the property owner, because they're the ones that are continuing to keep our county going. If you are a criminal and you do something wrong, you need to be accountable for it. That's what I believe. I also believe that the police should be in the communities. They should be able to build that rapport and that connection with the community. And if we aren't doing that, we're wrong. We're wrong. We're doing a disservice to our communities, and we're doing a disservice to ourselves, because only at the point where we have that good relationship between law enforcement and our citizens of this great county will we begin to understand how well we can move forward with reducing crime in our communities.
Excellent, excellent. And we know that, the issues of profiling, the disproportionate numbers of African Americans being jailed for minor crimes. And I'm sure that you must have thoughts and a plan to reduce that, and how to create that relationship between our police officers and those neighborhoods where we disproportionately being targeted, not to say victimized.
I do. I grew up. I was born in Newark, New Jersey. I grew up in that area. I moved out of Newark, New Jersey shortly after I was through the 1968 riots into another town called Union, which is not far from Newark. The destruction I saw in that city after the 1968 riots as a child, and what I watched happen to that city as it was affected by the crime level was really emotional for me, because that was the city I was born in, and I've lived in all my life, going back and forth to it. I don't want to see that happen here. Now, what I have seen and what I think is important for us to understand is that in order for law enforcement to have a good relationship with communities, they got to live there.
Okay, I got to interject something, because I'm listening and it sounds like a high policing. And the problem that we have with that right now is that there is friction, name a state, and it's there between the police and the public because of Blacks being disproportionately, beaten up on. I got to be real here. I can't find the right word, so I'm just going to go.
We keep it real. Okay, let's go for it.
And to me, when DeSantis came out with some kind of law that talked about sensitivity, that talked about you cannot talk about race and all of that within the workplace, I'm thinking that also overlaps into the sheriff's office around the state. So you cannot even do sensitivity training anymore. And for me, that does not bode well, because we still have a lot of sheriffs or police officers that, I'll be straight, they're racist. Okay, and they're bringing their isms and their biases into policing. So I hear what you're saying, Mr. Sabb, and I'm hoping that part of your platform or part of the campaign is how do we get police officers to understand that the public that they will be policing, we come in different colors, we come from different cultures, and yes, we're all coming into the main culture, which is that of the United States, but there's so much that goes into that. And I know that 10 minutes is not enough to talk about that. So of course, here we go again. We're gonna invite you back to have a longer conversation where you don't have to be to share the spotlight with two other guests. But I encourage you to think about some of the things that I just talked about because
And Lima, can I just answer that really quick?
sure.
Lima, you're absolutely right. And what I was trying to say there when I said that they have to live there, what I mean is communication. The problem is we're not communicating well. And all I am saying is, with my idea is to put law enforcement in those communities, live there. They need to live there. And that will form that type of relationships that we need for our community so that we can rebuild that trust between both parties.
Okay. And one other thing that I needed to talk about with regards to party platform, Biden just signed into law, the Inflation Act, which I'm hoping will trickle down, obviously, to the different communities around the United States. And of course, the communities where there's a high demographic people of color. So I'm hoping that part of your portfolio when you get into office, because let's be honest, Deming is a hard one to beat, but you're giving it your best shot, and I admire you for that. I really do. And one of the things I said to you on the People's Chat Room was that we encourage you to continue building relationships with the Caribbean community and people of color. That's very important because we are a large demographic here in Orange County. But people don't pay attention to us most times until they want something. But build a relationship with them, and you'll see how far that will take you.
Yeah. Can I talk a little bit about your the
Yeah,
Inflation Reduction Act?
sure.
I am against it, and I'll tell you why I am against it.
Right.
It is dumping more money into the economy, and right now that's what we don't need. What we're seeing here is an inflation rate that is skyrocketing, and it is skyrocketing is because we're lowering the value of the dollar. The more we continue to flood the market with dollars, the more we're going to see the reduction in the value of the dollar, which is going to exacerbate inflation, in my opinion. And we're going to, I think, see a higher rate of inflation once this act goes into action.
I hear you.
Yeah, and
Go
yeah,
ahead. Go ahead.
absolutely. And then you did mention like small businesses
Yes, sir.
in the region, which is very important because the economy is built on small business pop and moms, and how and I know that we're running for time, and we don't have too much, and I know that as Lima just mentioned, we're gonna invite you back. Hopefully, you'll be available to us. But quickly, just before we let you go and go for a break, the small business part. What is your plan? How are you going to reinforce that? Because most of the time, when people are talking about small businesses, yeah, the money comes in, but most of the time, it doesn't even trickle down to our neighborhood. We don't feel it. So, what is your plan on that?
Okay, and when you ask me that, sir, can you be more direct in how what are you asking me about small business?
Small business. What plan do you have in strengthening small business?
Okay. What I would like to do is incentivize our small businesses, and I think that our county, look, we have a vibrant county here, and the reason why we have it is because people are trying to get into this county by leaps and bounds. They're coming 1,000 a week, and they're not. These are professional people coming here to want to make a living. The first thing we have to do is have a place for them to live.
Mm-hmm.
We have a problem with housing here. 3.5 years ago, we knew about this, and we have it now. So before I can even get to that point, I got to have a place for our new arriving citizens to live. So what we have to do first is increase the number of houses and units here in our county. Now, the way we get after the incentive for small businesses is what we try to do is provide loans and incentivizing our banks to do these loans, these quick opportunity loans for these businesses to give them an opportunity to get started. Those are the first things I'd like to look at. Now, I know that I have to have that relation with the banks to do that, but that's how I have to think outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely going to have to think outside the box when I try to find units for our residents right now, because we're in a crisis. I think we're in an emergency right now.
Yeah, we're in an emergency, and right now our emergency is time because we've got to move to the
I'm
last
sorry.
guest, Miss Natalie Jackson. Don't apologize. You're on a roll here, and 1 hour is definitely not enough time, but we got to make it work. So of course we invite you to return so we can have a longer conversation on your campaign and your platform. I know tomorrow is elections day. Election day, yeah, elections. But once again, our conversation should extend beyond. So we invite you to return at another date. So thank you, Mrs. Sabb, for being a guest on Caribbean Straight Talk.
Thank you both for having me. I really
No,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
for having you. All right, let's take our break now, and then our next guest is going to be Lima.
Miss Natalie Jackson. She is
Miss Natalie Jackson.
congressional candidate for District 10, a popular district. And Natalie, she's coming on pretty soon, but I got to tell you, I had a conversation with Maxwell Frost recently, and Natalie,
Mm.
I was honest. I said to him, I like Natalie Jackson. He said Natalie is a really good person. She's got so much to offer. So
Amazing.
Natalie, you're in my heart, darling. You're in my heart. But we get to hear about you or your campaign in a minute or so.
Excellent. We'll be right back.
Mr. Anthony Sabb or Tony Sabb. And this audio is primarily for the radio audience. Both Anthony Sabb or Tony Sabb for Orange County Mayor. And of course, tomorrow is election. And Mrs. Sabb, thank you so much for being our guest on Caribbean Straight Talk today. Val Branch Duncan, she's a realtor with North Star First Properties, and she specializes in buying, selling, or properties in the Caribbean and North America. She specializes in the Bahamas, Barbados, Grenada, Guyana, Jamaica, and Trinidad and Tobago. If you need Val, and I sure hope you will, please give her a call at 321-303-9345. Valuable, attentive, and loyal. The acronym VAL, which is Val Branch Duncan. Yeah, I guess
Excellent. Yeah,
that's all
we
you,
are
right?
back. We are back from our break. Thank you. As we said earlier, we have an incredible woman, Natalie Jackson. We could bring Natalie on the screen right now.
Hey, Natalie.
Hi,
Hey, Natalie, how are you?
thank you, Caribbean Straight Talk, for having me. As you see, we are still out in these streets. We're trying to get every last vote. We've been knocking on doors, campaigning on the streets, so I'm in my car.
Excellent, excellent. I remember those times. Let's do what you have to do. That.
Yeah,
Really great.
trying to make sure we get everybody.
I hear
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely. All right,
So-
Natalie. So yeah,
Go ahead,
we're
I'm sorry,
gonna go
George.
ahead and get to the real thing. And I know that Lima has so much to say. I'm sure that's gonna have some very nice questions. I love that.
Yes.
But I always give our guests an opportunity to present themselves, even that you've been campaigning for a while. But I think that it's good for our audience to know a little bit more about you. So who is Natalie Jackson?
So let me tell you about me and why I think that I understand what the voters want. I'm a third generation Central Floridian. I know people in this district. I've went around, I've talked to them, so I know what they want and what they deserve is a livable wage, making sure they have jobs and lower housing. At the age of 18, I enlisted in the military. I enlisted in the military because I didn't know if I could afford college. So making sure that young people have an opportunity to go to college or have a vocational education, that's important to me, and making sure that they have it without going to debt for the rest of their lives. That's important to me. At the age of 20, I became a single parent. I had an emergency C-section. I'm also a kidney donor for my sister. I didn't have to pay hospital bills for that. But making sure that people have universal health care, making sure that they can afford prescription drugs, making sure our seniors and our people with disabilities can be able to have home care. That's important to me. And at the age of 20, I went to Hampton University, which is an HBCU. And because I had a child, I couldn't live on campus. So making sure that people have affordable and safe housing, making sure that people have free child care, free free childcare, pre-K, making sure that we have a livable wage. All that stuff is important to me. I will tell you, at the age of 30, I went to law school and I became a civil. Well, first of all, after I finished Hampton University, I was commissioned a naval intelligence officer. So I spent over a decade in the military. And so voting rights is important to me. Making sure that we maintain our democracy, making sure that we have free and fair elections. All that's important to me. Then when I was 30, I became a civil rights attorney. I worked right here. I have a small business in Orlando for the last 20 years. Making sure I've worked on cases like the Pine Hills barbershop raids, where the police officers and the Department of Business and Regulations, they joined together to raid Black businesses in Pine Hills. We sued them, and we got the laws changed where that's the kind of stuff can't happen anymore. I worked with Attorney Ben Crump on the Trayvon Martin case, which was the start of the Black Lives Matter movement. I worked on the Breonna Taylor case with Attorney Ben Crump in Kentucky, where we got laws changed. We've been doing this for 20 years, working outside of politics, getting laws changed. In my own family, I have seen how the criminal justice system discriminates against poor people and people of color. So making sure that people who have been incarcerated are able to come home and reunite with their families, making sure that when they finish their time, they have a second chance. They can get mental health counseling, drug counseling, alcohol counseling, making sure that they can be able to get jobs, making sure that they can be able to start careers and get permits and start another life. That's important to me. So these are the things I think that are important to all your listeners too. Making sure I have friends who have been outside the immigration system and they are waiting for temporary, the temporary,
TPS.
Yes, TPS. They're waiting for to expire in February. Well, they shouldn't have to wait for that. It should be extended. We know that they need asylum. Those things should be extended. We need to make sure we also have a path to citizenship for people. They shouldn't have to wait for that. We need to make sure this system, if you got family over here, you shouldn't have to wait 20 years to get a status with your family. We need to fix this broken immigration system. So those are the things I'm fighting for.
You really press on some hard button, and then really, Lyma, we're gonna take this home. But you know what? I really want to really underline this, because I asked Kern Green the same question. Then you're running for Congress for District 10, and then we know that we have a large immigration population here in Central Florida. We all are immigrants. I am immigrants, and I'm sure that in Lima as well. And what I mentioned to Kern earlier is these administrations, in turn, how many Haitian Americans particularly has been really shipped back home. And even when the country basically is in a very, very difficult time ever in its history in terms of insecurity, gang violence, it is what's happening right now. And the American policies toward Haiti hasn't been such a positive beacon for the country. So now, if you elected, how would you influence those kind of policies? I'm not talking about only about Haitians, but the reason I'm talking about Haitians, because right now the issues, that's what's going on in the Caribbean now. Haiti has been the hot potato that's going on right now. And this administration has been really, really deported numbers of Haitian nationals back to Haiti, even when they know this country security is unsustainable. So what is your take on that, and what would you do?
The first thing that we need to do is make sure that the system is fair and it doesn't discriminate based on your nationality. That's what we see a discrimination with Black and brown people in this system. We know there's a backlog. We know they need to put more money to make sure that they are up to date on the computer systems, making sure that you have the right technology to make the efficient system. One thing that I do know is that, and this is one of the reasons that I decided to run for Congress, was because on January 6th, I saw people storm the Capitol and say, "This country is there." They were waving Confederate flags. They were pretty much telling Black people, "This is not your country." One thing that I see is that this country was built on immigrants. This country was built on refugees. This country was built on the back of slaves. So this is our country, and we need to make sure that we make a way for people to be able to join and participate. All my friends who are immigrants, they pay taxes just like everybody else. Even the ones who are illegal are paying taxes. They may not be able to use it, but they're getting taxes withheld while they're working and stuff. We need to make sure that we have a system that allows them to reunite with their family, to have a equal and fair way of becoming an American citizen, just like everyone else.
Okay,
Natalie, you're
gotta
keeping it
jump
real.
in
You're keeping it
because
real. Lima.
we're almost at 9, and we gotta end the show exactly at 9 because we've got DJ Sweeba waiting in the wings to start his show. Zep Bola, she asked a question, and Natalie, I know you have a really, really good response for housing. She says we need housing for all, including our local everyday people. So you got 1 minute to respond to that.
So
1
let
minute.
me tell you that my housing plan is that we have one, we need to extend tax credits for people who own houses. We need to enforce our antitrust laws to make sure big corporations like Zillow aren't buying up houses and setting prices. And for people with apartment complexes, this is like my big plan. We make sure, just like you can claim the interest on your house on your taxes, you need to have a tax exemption and be able to claim your rent on your taxes. That's one of the first bills that I propose in Congress.
Awesome.
Go ahead.
No,
Go
I
ahead.
have so many words coming out my mouth, but we only have like literally 5 minutes to 6
And I'm
minutes to
trying
start
to talk
wrapping this
so
up.
fast, so I want to make sure your listeners understand what I'm saying. I'm saying that you should get a rebate on the taxes that you pay for your rent. I mean, you should get a tax rebate for the rent that you pay. Just like people can claim their house mortgage interest. Same thing.
See, I told you she had a really good response for housing because I love that response. And I know she has a whole lot more. So Natalie, please tell them where they can go to get this information literally like right now.
Yes, you can go to www.natalie, Natalie, Jackson, Jackson, for FOR, Congress, CONGRESS.com. That's Natalie Jackson for Congress.com. I would
say, Natalie,
up tomorrow.
Excellent. Yes. And I would say, Natalie, you keep it real here on our show, Caribbean Straight Talk. We hope to have you back, in our next show very soon, because it seems like you have so much to talk about and we have so many questions for you.
I do.
I gotta say, Zep responded. She's like, what she just said was a response to Mr. Tony Sabb. So, and that's one of our listeners, soon to be one of our advertisers. But Natalie, I know you got to go because you got to go knock on some more doors before, make sure
Lima,
everybody.
I appreciate the love you have shown me. Thank you so much. Thank you, Caribbean Straight Talk. Georges, you all are fabulous. And I just encourage everybody to go out and vote tomorrow.
We wish you the best. We'll see you on the Hill.
Thank you so much.
See you on the Hill. Bye-bye, Natalie. All the best.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So,
Lima, you have
we almost out of here, right?
So. Come again?
Okay,
that's
so
the day you have it.
For the radio audience, please vote Natalie Jackson for Congress District 10. And you can go to Natalie Jackson for Congress.com so you can get some more information. All right, tomorrow is election day. If you haven't early voted, please get out and vote.
It's very important. We only have 4 minutes, and we really wanted to underline the importance of voting. Don't sit home. And a lot of times, particularly in a community, we tend to only vote in a general election. We don't vote the locals, and you have to. The locals and the local politicians, the local leaders, they are making decisions that are affecting your lives, and they are very influential and very powerful. Please get out and vote. Get your voice heard. It's very important. You heard about Natalie
Natalie Jackson.
Natalie Jackson. You heard of Dr. Green. You heard of from Mr. Sabb. Please, you know where to go. You know how to vote. Please get out and vote and bring somebody with you. Encourage somebody with you, because this right, a lot of people died for you to have that right to vote.
Yeah. Let me just elaborate and tap into exactly everything that George just said. And let me remind you, the primary elections, which is this coming one, which is November. And then, of course, you've got tomorrow. They pick their judges, county commissioners, school board members, Commissioner of Agriculture, Attorney General, state state senators, governors. This election is very important.
Extremely
And
important
yeah, so what George
positions.
just said is these are the people going to put laws and rules in place. All this stuff that DeSantis is getting away with, guess why? It's because the Republicans right now dominate the Florida legislature. Because you guys didn't go out and vote, they got in. Remember that.
Exactly.
Please
And I
go out
heard
and
people
vote.
say, well, our votes don't count and everything. That is baloney. Okay? Because it's a way for you to sleep and sit down and let it slide. Don't allow that to happen. We have a large number of a population here. We know how the numbers of people that are registered to vote. Please get out, especially in this election. It's very important. Your life depends on it.
So we're getting ready to get out of here. We have 1 more minute, and I'm going to use that minute to say thank you. You're going to see the credits. I want to thank Miss Mea Allman of Caribbean Under One Magazine, iTunes Radio, islandbeatradio.net, which is being simulcasted on, Dominique Brisbane, DJ Code Red, and of course, my co-host, Mr. Georges Bossous. And we want to thank all our guests, and we're getting ready to switch gears and go live on iTunes Radio for DJ Sweeba.
There you go. There you go. And don't forget to subscribe.
Yes. Subscribe. Caribbean Straight Talk.
One word.
Straight Talk. One word. On Facebook and also on YouTube. We gotta go. Peace
Instagram.
out. What's up? We'll see you.
E12 on the
Yeah, you could reach out to John.